Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. In today's topic, this tampon throwing, dumping type woman, devious woman, by the way, that she threw or dumped tampons at her ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend's house, or was their house, because he had moved on after they broke up the relationship, and the tampons that she either threw or dumped or combinationally were looked at as used and bloody. And the thing about it as well, she was supposed to be also a firefighter. Wait a minute. One more time for that one. This story is such a I had to put three versions on that one. This story is such a unfathomable thought pattern that this particular woman, who's supposed to be a firefighter, and she had all types of those certifications and those that type of area, right? Or she possible DEI, by the way. And the disturbing is that she, and by the way, that she tried to throw a couple of her family members, women, into the volcano to try to get the heat off of what she did. Now, every day, however numbers of males hear the infantileness of mantra of, oh my goodness, toxic masculinity. Society hates women, they hate women. What do you mean? Patriarchy, etc., right? But then we ask some of the same people, won't you talk about the numbers of destructive type of women who burn down boyfriends or boyfriend house or apartment, knock their teeth out, slap them all over the face, right? You see that saliva going left or right, giving them a black eye or both black eyes, right? Throwing all kind of things at him, cutting off his testicles. You start talking about, what about those kind of ones, and especially when they are being such a destructive menace to that boyfriend or husband? What about those type of criminality, violent type women? What about them in a situation like that? Yes, they want to play dumb, or again, they try to deflect, right? Because in this society, it's a very evil, and it's a very part of society, and it allows the feminist warpness machine to be right there next to supremacists and to continue to bring out this destructivality of misogynistic behavior toward males. And they also utilize certain various types of simp males. They use various types of politicalness, right? Because have you noticed when it's something dealing with women, it's we gotta sit there and help women. We gotta help girls. We gotta protect women. We gotta protect girls. But when it's the opposite again, how about the little girls that's punching out men, punching out young boys in school, right? Mentally abusing them, emotionally abusing them, and they grew up with that same nonsensical evil behavior toward the boyfriend or boyfriends or husbands, right? And nothing happens of consequentiality and legislationness overall. But let it be vice versa. You know how that goes. Oh, we got to do some protection for women and girls. But again, there is some responsibility in blaming for a certain type of males in society, and it's not a small, that sit back and they also doing this as well. Yes. Yes. And this is why continuation of this misogynistic various parts of society against males and against boys will consistently continue. So you can't run from conniving, mischievous women within Westernized society. You can't run from them, right? Or should I say, you can run, but the people that are not leaving like that, they still have to deal with that kind of stuff. You understand that? See, the thing about it is, even if you don't travel in the States, well, again, the system knows that there's not enough males to sit there and not be cowardly and act like what is happening is not happening toward numbers of males and numbers of boys. Because there's no demanding for equalness and recognition of the violence against males. Right? And the not accepting of the minimization of women criminality violence, be it physical, emotional, mentally, financially, etc. Like in this situation right here on this topic, what this was supposed to be this firefighter, maybe what DEI woman did, to sit there and either, well, dumped, thrown, however, about 75 was supposed to be looked at as used tampons, blooded tampons. Now, it was found out they wasn't necessarily real, but the initial part at her ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend's house, or both of their house, they wake up and hear these kind of sounds, and they go out there and look at, they find out, look in the yard, and they see all these tampons, bloody red looking. What do you think how that looks? But people tell when women, they want to leave for whatever reason, even though how many numbers of women every day leave good males, and then they complain they can't find no good males. That's a whole different topic in itself, right? But then they tell males, y'all need to get over it. If the woman leaves, just let her leave. All right, fine. But then if some males do some type of things where, the woman's like, she's trying to leave, and the guys may be like, well, I mean, we should stay together. Well, just let her leave. But when it's this particular type woman who does this conniving, mischievous, violentness, because it's still a form of violentness, vandalism, by the way, then it's like, well, it's excuses made, because it's one of those things like, no matter what, if she does this, and people start to run, see what's going on. So let me go ahead and actually play this particular, or show this first particular article. I was going to probably show this later on, but I think I want to show this at the beginning. I'm going to kind of make this a little bit more faster on this. I was trying to set the direction up on the show. Actually, this is not, you know what? Let me go ahead and read this. This is not the one I wanted to show, but let me go ahead and read this and go and get this particular part out the way. Florida firefighter woman, you can see, accused of chunking or dumping 75 red stained tampons into ex-boyfriend's yard. Right? This is the truck that she was driving with two family members. We'll get into in a little bit, that she tried to throw them in the volcano and try to minimize her atrocious behavior, right, of stalking, vandalism toward the ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend's house, of their house, right? But it's like, where's all that? Hey, no, just go. He don't want you anymore. Leave. Nope. That's how it goes, right? The article goes, a Florida firefighter woman, maybe DEI, is in hot water after allegedly chunking 75 red stained tampons into the yard of a home where her ex-beau lives with his new girlfriend. Gabrielle France, a 28-year-old smoke jumper firefighter with this particular area, was allegedly caught on surveillance video, not allegedly, it was caught, driving up to her ex-boyfriend's the ex's home, that's stalking, at around 10 p.m. on September 29, 2025. Today is December 29, 2025. And dumping seemingly used tampons on the yard of the Deland house he shared with a new romantic partner. Look at that. Devious. The allegedly jealous ex was arrested and pleaded not guilty that particular time to 2 counts of misdemeanor stalking. France, who worked in the department since 2019, the firefighter department, was placed on paid leave while her employer probes the incident. If that would have been male, there is no overall probe. They will be fired because they said no stalking or that's some type of intimate partner violence, some kind of what are you talking about? That kind of thing, direct violence doesn't matter. That's a form of violence in some kind of way. It's emotional violence. It's mental violence, anything. You see how that goes, right? When it's for numbers of women, right? So that goes. Or should I say, yes, it's against the male. If it's a male, then it's, oh my goodness, that's emotional abuse, emotional harassment, mental harassment, stalking, anything, right? If it's a man doing that, he gets automatically overall fired, right? She just gets put on what? Paid leave. Inequality at its best. Her ex-new girlfriend reported the his new girlfriend basically reported the vandalism to this particular entity after she and her homeowner, the guy, lover, woke up the next day and discovered the prank. You see how the minimization, oh, that's a prank. But if a male did that, that's not a prank. You said it goes. The feminine hygiene products were stained red as if they were possibly used, enforcement wrote in a probable cause affidavit. Right? You see somebody like throwing some things, right? On that. The couple's home surveillance system captured video showing a pickup truck matching France slowly driving by and waiting until traffic, basically dwindled down before a woman sitting on the bed jumped out and threw the tampons onto the yard. The court document alleged. They recognized France's truck as it had a covering over the dog kennel because she was also like working with, I guess, some kind of K9 unit. Scary. They recognized France's truck as it had a covering over the dog kennel she stored in the back, and her license plate was picked up in the area around the same time, enforcement allegedly. The pair said they thought France carried out the stunt as a way of showing she was unhappy about her former lover moving on. Enforcement people said, now this is her supposed to be working out, and wherever she was at, France had taken to social media to complain about the new relationship to mutual friends. She should have got over it. Nope. It's sympathy, right? On that situation is understanding. He probably did things to her and she was just hurting. There are some really messed up neurotic type women in Americanism, westernized society. And it's spreading this devious feminism in various other countries, right? When enforcement personnel first confronted France at her home, she claimed she didn't even know where her ex was currently living. When the officers presented her with incriminating evidence, she caught to her involvement, but said the scheme was not her ideal. You see how it goes, right? See what she did. France admitted that her mom, let's say this again. France admitted that her mom and her aunt came into town and suggested the gross gag to her. The trio then picked up the haul of tampons and painted them red so they would look like they were used, enforcement personnel alleged. France shenanigans and a little devious piece of kraut mom and her aunt were for the sole purpose to harass and serves no legitimate purpose. These particular enforcement people allege. But again, where's all the outrage? Many people hadn't even heard of this story. So let me stop this for a second on this. Now, what I want to show at the beginning part, oh, by the way, it's just like this again, right? People act like they didn't see nothing, but I just read, right? Talking about the ones this applies to, right? You see how this goes. Because again, if this was a man and he did that, and say his dad and his uncle or whatever, a couple other different males in their family, and they sit there and painted some condoms, 75 boxes of condoms, red, and they threw and dumped 75 condoms, red looking condoms, into the yard of, say, her. Just give an example, vice versa. And her ex-boyfriend, her woke up and, her, whatever surveillance, whatever, and they walked outside and they saw 75 boxes of 75 used condoms. Look, they've been used, they've been painted red. Oh, all kind of superchargers been put upon that guy, and he was a firefighter, he'd be immediately fired and brought up on all kind of charges left and right. And by the way, when I was looking her up and stuff like this relating to the story, there's really nothing going on at this particular present moment in December. Isn't that interesting? But again, that's all they got to usually do. So let me go ahead and play this particular video. I'm gonna play one other thing, and then I will finish up the show on this. And I'm not gonna play this whole video on this, like 33 minutes and 40 some seconds. I'm not gonna play this. I'm just gonna play this some parts of this, and I'm utilizing this as fair usage doctrine.
You're seen throwing tampons, a ton of tampons into their yard.
You heard that right. A Florida woman, a firefighter no less, has a breakup, and it seems like it didn't end on good terms. So she allegedly decorated his yard with 75 tampons.
Why were they looked like they might have been used, so that's absolutely freaking disgusting.
This is Scandal, presented by...
So let me fast forward this a little bit.
October 3rd, when 28-year-old Gabrielle Franz got a knock on her door.
Gabrielle, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I need to talk with you about an incident.
So before we get into the body cam, which by the way is really good, the officer really lays into Gabrielle. But before all of that, I want to explain what she's accused of. On September 30th, Gabrielle's ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend woke up at their home in DeLand, Florida, to find a really strange scene. Their front lawn was covered in tampons. According to an affidavit, there were 75 of these tampons that were, quote, stained red as if they were possibly used. So
that's nasty, right? I mean, just a thought pattern. If they didn't know that they were painted that kind of color, right? And that would be almost like hazardous, right? Because you don't know what's inside blood of personnel, right? That's hazardous in the kind of situation. But again, if that would have been vice versa in the male, like I said before, let a male have done that with his dad and brother, dad and uncle. You got the point. Two other males, and they again painted condoms 75 condoms red. Man. And he was a firefighter. And see how fast they would have fired him.
So the ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend are like, what happened here? So they went to their cameras to see if anything suspicious was caught on a recording. Now, the night before, on September 29th, a dark pickup truck was seen on their recordings passing by this ex-boyfriend's home. The truck can be seen on video driving slowly past the house. Then the truck is seen waiting for the traffic to kind of clear up before a woman hops out of the back seat and is caught on camera throwing tampons into the yard. Now, to respect their privacy, the names of both this ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend are not listed in the court documents. So that's why I'm just referring to them as the ex-boyfriend and the new girlfriend. But what I can tell you is that the new girlfriend moved in with Gabrielle's ex-boyfriend, and it was her who reported this entire incident to the authorities. Now, investigators reviewed their footage from home and asked.
Well, and by the way, you heard what the lady said. That was actually, excuse me, the new girlfriend that reported it. So most likely, the guy, and again, this is why again, the continuous degradation of masculinity in society is happening more and more in Americanism, right? Because there are guys that keep allowing numbers of women to continue to keep sitting there being on the forefront of devious feminism, which is misandry, demonicism, right? They lie. They will cheat. They cheat every day. They lie every day. They use chameleon tears every day. They commit domestic violence upon men every day. They try to play reversal games every day. However, politicalness the ones applies to won't do anything every day to legislate equal laws relating to the abusement of domestic abuse toward male victims, right? That happens every day because they understand that there's not enough males to say, hey, man, this is not fair. We can't, no, life can be not fair sometimes, but you know what? This is outrageous on this situation. And it's demanded to sit there and have equality or some kind of piece of equality laws. Well, that's not be talking about women act like women are only the victims of domestic abuse situations. Mentally, financially, emotionally, you get the point. It's like when I did a Violence Against Women Act podcast, and I was showing how there's hypocrisy on that part. But let's continue.
Okay, it's time we got to talk to Gabrielle. So back to the body cam we go, but just a warning, the audio is going to cut out.
30th, your truck.
I'll let Deputy
30th, your truck.
Okay.
Creeps, but it's all on video. I have video of it, so that's why I'm here. Your truck, very distinctive truck. You have the dog cages on the back. This particular day, you had a cover over the dog cages for whatever reason. I don't know what that was for. But you are seeing your truck seen passing by their house, going up the street a little bit, waiting until pretty much traffic is cleared. Then the truck turns around, comes back to the house. You're seen throwing tampons, a ton of tampons into their yard. While you're throwing tampons into the yard, another car pulls up behind the truck. Pretty much because your truck's blocking traffic. So then your truck scoots up. And this is on camera. It's crystal clear camera.
You can tell me all about it.
Right. Your truck scoots up.
Right.
Then I guess that car drives around. Then
what did that car do?
What car?
The second car.
Nothing. It was just a car and just driving down the road. Like, it was just an unrelated.
So it's not relevant.
Not relevant.
Okay.
Other than it just came up behind your truck as the tampons are being thrown into the yard.
Okay.
After that, the truck scoots up.
Okay.
You get out of the truck, run back into the yard, throw some more tampons, and then leave. So I'm not asking if you did it. It's on crystal clear camera.
Okay.
So I'd be careful lying to me because I didn't just show up here.
Okay.
Okay.
So naturally, the deputy is going to ask some questions, and honestly, they're pretty valid.
So I guess I have a couple of.
No kidding. They should be valid, right? Especially when she was calling the camera, the surveillance camera, doing with that little heinous stuff with her mom and aunt.
Questions. One is, my main question is, what was the point of that? And my other question is, obviously you weren't alone, so why are you throwing tampons into their yard?
Okay.
And who else was with you, and do they know the circumstances behind this? Those are my main two questions.
Okay. I can tell you, obviously I wasn't alone. I
Right.
was not the one throwing them in the yard. Obviously, those were the two people in the back. It was not me throwing them actively.
You see what she's about to get her to do. She's about to again minimize what she did. She said, well, I didn't throw them actively. She didn't say, and she didn't throw them at all either.
One of those people are my aunt, who is not in this state. She lives in Ohio. The other person is actually my mother. It was actually my aunt's idea. I don't know why they came up with the idea. They were coming over here for dinner. I invited them over because I've had a rough couple
Your aunt
weeks.
and your mom?
Yes.
Okay.
So my mom actually was making dinner. I had them come over, so that's why they were coming over. They
Okay.
showed up with all the. I don't know where the idea came from. I don't know what the rhyme or reason was. That was just something they came up with.
And I want to give props to Gabrielle. She's pretty
And that part was this is infantile. What you hear the person in the background. Well, I give props. No. Would they say the same thing if that would have been a man again? And there was two male personnel, and again they painted 75 boxes of 75 condoms. Well, yeah, 75 condoms red, and threw it on her ex's. Oh no, he threw it on his ex's new boyfriend's place of residence where both of them were at. Do you think they're saying, well, yeah, I give him credit for doing? No. So even though sometimes women, they will relate certain things about, well, that's kind of wrong what she did. Something about certain types of women, sometimes they still will make pseudo excuses because it's a natural thing to sit there and be pro woman with each other. Pseudoly or unpseudoly. Sometimes without even knowing it. And that's still not an excuse.
honest and very straightforward. She says, yes, I was involved, but she says it was her mom and her aunt who were really the masterminds in this whole equation.
So is it three of you? I know you obviously you weren't alone because you can't throw tampons and drive the truck
No, I
at the
just
same
told you
time.
I wasn't alone.
Okay.
Those were the two other people with me.
Yeah, but you also told me you didn't know they lived there, which is a lie. So
Well,
Let me fast forward. So he caught her in some minimization, right? And I'm just saying, I've been sitting there, I've been observing these little tactics for quite a minute of years. I'm definitely not new to the game of observing these feminism, demonic, cretin strategies. Unfortunately, because about 20 something years ago, there still was quite a number of naive type guys in various parts of Western society, quite a number of guys within sectionality of Americanism that were extremely naive to what was going on in front of their faces with these misogynistic, hatred type women. Now, we don't know every single thing. Males, there are some males that think they know everything. But the thing about it is, I've been studying this for a long time. I was in observation mode and observing these games that's been going on, right? Now, it's good there's a few more guys that's starting to recognize this more, but it's definitely not even a piece of enough on this. So hopefully it'll be more and more. And it might be slightly more, but here's the problem. The situation with the Trumpism, oh my goodness, Trumpism, he this and did that. The thing about it is, some people would say if Kamala got in office, it would have been a whole different type of super pro-feminist, super pro-feminicity. No, not real feminicity, but pro none feminine mantras, even more, that have been rolled out in various parts of America like never truly before. I mean, beyond that, we're not talking about first and second wave and a piece of third wave or feminists. Oh, no. Kamala probably got in office. They would have probably made those first and second and third wave, you want to call them that, whatever it is, looks like you had a standstill. And the thing about in this society, they're like, we must have a woman president. And I'm sitting there saying you right now, today, December the 29th, 2025, there has to be a woman as president, I would say probably within a generation or so. Again, there can be a variable of margin of error. But the way things are going, the system is like, well, if nothing else, we really don't want Kamala in there, because she, whatever it is, she's not Anglo-American, so we really want her in there. But we will, we utilize Kamala because she's Jamaican. Her dad is Jamaican, and her mom was from India, right? Just like Obama, his father was Kenyan, and his mom, I think, from Kansas, like a regular kind of a white American. But you didn't really see that party him like that. They only saw Negro, but that's a whole different topic in itself. But even though reparations still wasn't done in his time frame, no racism, anti-American black hatred law was not put upon in Obama times. But even though the DACA program to help out border break illegal immigrants was implemented on his watch, you got same-sex marriage that was also implemented on the Obama's watch. That's the insulting that quite a number of Black Americans that, it was understandable the first time to say, oh my goodness, the first Black American, first Black president, right? And there was not a lot of questioning about, wait a minute, where was his dad from again? Right? Because it was like, just wanted to see a Black president. And then the second time, he was put back in office, then that particular new car smell basically beyond war off and say, wait a minute, what did he do for Black Americans, right? So the thing about related this over and about to play a few more minutes of this, I'll finish this off. You got the gist of the story on this already in this video as well. Is that this system, feminism, demonism, they're like, look, we prefer an Anglo-American in there, but if we have to settle for this hybrid of Jamaican and this Jamaican father and hybrid India woman, this hybrid, we will settle for that for right now. But they really want an Anglo-American woman there because that is going to sit there and bring forth extreme feminism in there, because the system is not going to allow some equality-based woman to get in office. She's going to have to be super pro-feminist. She's going to have to sit there and talk about women issues. She's going to have to do that. But have you noticed that you rarely hear any kind of male presidential personnel really talk about men's issues like that? Just something to think about.
My mom knew that they lived there. I did not.
So she didn't know that her ex-boyfriend didn't stay there. So her mom, whatever one was out of town, whatever it is. So she finds out where he stayed at. So her ex-boyfriend was like, oh yeah, telling her ex-boyfriend, oh yeah, I stayed there at that residence. Right. She know freaking well where her ex-boyfriend was staying at. And she got jealous, right? Because he moved on.
I know that they lived there.
So whose house did you think you were going to?
Well, once we started doing it, I mean, I knew whose house we were going to, but I did not know up until that point where he lived.
Up until what point?
Up until driving up there, because she had the address. I didn't know where to go.
And here's the question we started this episode with. Why?
Okay, so what's the point of driving to your ex's house to throw tampons in you? I mean, how old are you?
Again, I don't know the rhyme or reason behind the idea behind it. I'm not sure I said it was stupid, figured it was dumb. I don't know. I guess they thought it would just be fucking stupid fun, I guess. I don't really.
But she's supposed to be this firefighter, supposed to have all these certifications, and she's supposed to be smart. Not really. More like Howard Parks, maybe DEI. You can hear in her masculine voice that she would have been the controllingness in a relationship. There's nothing that I hear in her voice that sounds feminine. What, you can't be feminine and be a firefighter? Raw, yes you can. Right? But she has no type of feminine coming from her voice. I hear pseudo feminine masculinity. I hear controllingness. I hear that possibly her ex-boyfriend was probably someone that obviously he allowed her to be controlling him, because it was the new girlfriend who actually want to sit there and bring it up what his ex-girlfriend did. So that tells me that he didn't want to say anything about that. So that goes, right? So let me go ahead and there's something else I want to show. You know what? That's all. I don't want to show anything else on that. You get the point, the gist of the story on that situation. The last thing I want to sit there and show, by the way, you really didn't hear what you heard her talk about. You really hear her excuses. You really hear her minimization. That's what feminists, demon feminists, they try to do, especially toward numbers of males, right? Because there are some simp males out there who cannot comprehend and compute that what they think is leave to be women days, that time is long gone, right? The time is long gone. But at the same time, it's like, again, you start telling you start bringing up, hey, what are you going to do about these numbers of women that are sitting there being destructive, violent, right? Mischievous, lying, vandalism, domestic abusing, be it financially, mentally, emotionally. You get the point, right? What are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about legislating this kind of stuff? Intimate partner violence against males by these numbers of wives or wife or girlfriend. What are you going to do about that? Since you put a violence against women what are you going to do for males? Right? They do this like this. Because again, they know it's not enough males in Americanism that's going to sit there and say they've had about enough of this one-sided misogynistic behavior in America toward males. They know it's a lot of scary males. They can have all the education they want. They can have all the businesses. They can have all this kind of stuff. Means nothing, because you see some of the richest person on this planet, and you see what kind of wife that they have, right? And see what kind of stuff she comes from. So just having education by itself doesn't mean nothing. Just having a good business means nothing. That means they're just decent what they're doing in that part for some of them, because it still does not equate to logical analysis, right? To have all this kind of money, be rich all over the place, super middle class, and you got numbers of males that still get with non-feminine women, right? And don't even read the road signs on this, because many of those males in those super middle classness have some very much naiveness to numbers of women. And especially the more money you get, the more even seem to be more naive quite a number of males get even more, especially within various parts of Americanism. And this is why so many males get shocked when they sit there and hear about these women sitting there trying to divorce or getting divorced, especially this thing called gray divorce, right? Still, so many males get shocked. And I'm only talking about some of these super rich ones and these super middle class ones. I'm just saying that story on that situation, because they thought their education, the kind of titles, the external stuff they had meant nothing to these women, because most of these women were just using them. And this is within the Americanism feminist way for quite a number of women. Right? And so when numbers of males, especially numbers of black males, where they are traveling, some of the ones that's traveling, there's blame and shame and stuff like that to try to keep them, try to keep them in America and have less peace, right? And be battling, arguing with numbers of Americanized, westernized women in various parts of America, right? You see how those game goes. That game goes. So the last thing I want to show, as you've already saw what I showed, the first two things, she was not a very good person by her actions, right? But let me sit there and show you something that give me a second. Let me see if I can find it. I still have it. Give me one moment here. Do I still have it? Here we go. So this is the last thing I want to show. Now remember what we have already talked about, what I already shown. Now look at this, how personnel try to minimize the heck with this little deviant, feminine, non-true feminine, masculinity type of firefighter woman, DEI version did with those tampons that were made to look like they were bloody. 75 boxes of 75 tampons that were dumped or thrown in her ex-boyfriend's yard with his new girlfriend, right? Because she couldn't get over it that he moved on, right? And then she tried to blame her mom and her aunt with their little silly selves. And they try to make some excuses themselves, basically, like her. Well, I mean, it was kind of a joke too. It really wasn't. That wasn't funny, right? But you see already on this title, Gabrielle France, service, strength, and leadership under pressure. You see, this said December 23rd, 2025. Today is December 29th, 2025. The incident happened before December 23rd, 2025. You see how, again, woman camaraderie, when it's about trying to sit there and play minimization tactics, right? Look at her smiling. Boy, I'm telling you, there's demonic deviling in smiles as well, in certain people's smiles. Gabrielle France built her career around one ideal: be ready when others need help. She is a firefighter and paramedic with such and such. She is also the owner and lead trainer of Redline K9 Dog Training in such and such Florida, Deltona, Florida. Across both roles, her work centers on preparation, discipline, and service. Whether responding to emergencies or training dogs or specialized work, France focuses on reliability when conditions are unpredictable. I always love firefighting. She says, fire trucks, emergency response, helping people when it matters. That ideal stayed with me from a young age. So she grew up in whatever it is, over something, Florida, and a family that, anyway, I'm going to all that. So the point is, going back here, education. After graduating from Haggerty's High School in 2015, she pursued emergency services training with focus in speech. She earned her emergency medical technician certification in 2017, graduated cum laude. So she's supposed to be wink, supposed to be smart. She completed firefighter 1 and 2 certification in 2018. In 2019, she earned an Associate of Science in Emergency Medical Service and whatever this is, paramedicine from Seminole State College, along with these other types of certifications you see already. I want to be prepared for any situation. He says you do not get to choose the cause you respond to, but apparently her logical went out the window and her emotionalism took effect when her boyfriend moved on that. So leadership through action. Gabrielle France does not describe herself as a traditional leader Instead, she focuses on the example. Leadership is doing the work when no one is watching. Oh, I guess that didn't apply. Right. Again, her participating in the dumping and throwing of 75, what was going to be looked at as bloody tampons in her ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend's yard, huh? When no one is watching. Showing up prepared every day. Her roles in emergency services, canine training, and athletics intersect around accountability and trust. Others rely on her readiness. You cannot cut corners when lives depend on it. From volunteering as a teenager to leading specialized canine training today on DEI, Gabrielle France's career reflects deliberate choices and steady growth. She built skills early. She trained consistently. She stepped inside roles that demand reliability, except in relationships. Apparently, not getting over ex-boyfriend has gone about its own business. I believe in being useful. France says, when people need help, you should be ready. In firefighting, canine work, and competition, readiness is not option. It is the standard. So you see already how she was portrayed in this article in a smiling, angelic way. But this is not the way, right? That's reality. And it's disgusting and it's disturbing how so many times that just believe mantra has been accepted, and so many numbers of males within various parts of America have allowed themselves to be victims of misogynistic, domestic abuse, financial abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, etc., at the hands of these demon-type women once applies to. Because again, this system knows that there's not enough males that will stand up and demand from however politicalness, however organizations, etc., that they demand equality. And it is such an offensiveness to portray women as just victims and male as the assailants. So that's what been showed you in this video today, which is it wasn't really even played that much on various media. Because you look her up, you ain't gonna find too much about that particular situation at this present moment. And lastly, most likely, she's not going to be fired. She's not going to be fired, most likely. Now, if it would have been a man, he would have been fired. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.